print table looks something like this. What we're going to do now is just going to put a few accessories onto the print table. Just do a few little checks now and tighten up some of those rub screws. So the accessories we're going to put on is the end stops, which is that unit there, one on the Z axis and one on the Y axis, and just tightening up some of the rub screws now, and also tightening up, put the bolts in for the Z motor housing, and just tighten all that up. After that, we're going to move on to the electronics. Okay, now we're going to mount the X stop end stop, which basically tells the X axis or the print head when it's hit its position. A nice little carrier for it, should make it nice and simple for it just to clip into position. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mount it that way round. We're going to mark 2 holes and then drill the holes in, just using some self-tapping screws, just fasten that into position. Now the whole idea is to try and get it nice and central. The width of it is the same width as the X-axis, and we want it to come over about 3 millimeters. So if we can just mark the point either side. We've got adjustment internally, so that's going to be, you know, absolutely critical. So there's 2 holes marked there. We're just going to use a small drill. All we want to be doing is just starting the holes off. And you don't want to be using too long the screws at this point, so you're only looking at something just to go through, pass through the width of the housing. It's around about 1.5 millimeters, so something like a 4 millimeter screw, self-tapping screw. Okay, so that's in position. I'm just going to square it up a little bit. And now I can pop that into the locator, and that should just nicely sit into the recess, and that's that fasten. I can bring my X motor up and just check now that I'm getting a nice click noise telling me that it's hitting the end stop correctly, and therefore is going to give out the correct signal. Okay, on the Z motor it's pretty straightforward. I've already mounted this one, so I've just mounted it onto there, and what we're doing is it's just 2 M3 bolts, nuts and bolts, and obviously I want to have that little bit of adjustment. Also I've got the adjustment on the screw itself, which is on the lead screw thread part itself. The Y end stop just clips into position. That's just a simple push on and clip in. Okay, so now we're going to fasten down the Z motor. To do that, we're just going to need 4 screws to fasten into the wood, so just some shortish wood screws, and then the M4 hex bolts to fasten the motor actually into the motor housing. I'm just going to run through with the M4 thread tool, just to make sure that I've got a nice thread started off in there for the M4 bolts to go directly into it. Okay, so I've already checked around the others. Now I'm going to grab my M4 bolts, hex bolts, and the size on these is around about 14 millimeters. So you just need to obviously get it through the actual motor, whatever motor it is that you're using. Okay, so that's the motor mounted. Just give it a wiggle just so in the housing it can settle. Just check my rod's nice and smooth, which it is. Okay, now we're just going to fasten in the 4 screws for the table itself. And for this we're just going to use a couple of self-tapping small threaded screws. And that's okay, that's the motor housing now all nice, tight and secure in place.